Welcome, everybody. Let's let's arrive. I'm gonna move this over there. Yeah. Let's arrive. Whatever you've been doing at home or trying to get out or not trying to get out, and just let's settle in. I'm turning my phone over. Bring some attention to your posture, finding that place, that way to sit that is both relaxed and alert. And then let your attention come to your breath and just see what it's like on this day. Is it slow? Is it fast? Or something else? Is it deep? Is it shallow? Or something else? Is it cool? Is it warm? Or something else? However it is, there's no right way to breathe, no wrong way to breathe. But we can check in and just see what it's like for us today. And noticing when the mind begins to wander, maybe using a label. Notice if it's a memory, planning, worry, a daydream, and then very gently bringing your attention right back to the feeling of the breath at the tip of the nostrils or in the rise and fall of the belly, or the feeling of your feet on the ground. Releasing all the activities of earlier in the day, setting aside plans for afterwards, to just allow yourself to be right here, right now. Noticing the quality of the breath, and the energetic sense of the body. Does your body feel stirred up? Or does the body feel settled? Or something else? Okay, welcome again, everybody. Welcome, welcome. So glad you are all able to make this time to be here. It's really a beautiful community we've got going here. There's so much else that we could all be doing. It is pretty radical for us to make the choice to come here and sit quietly together. So I know you make it easier for me to be here by the fact of you showing up. So I appreciate that. And some of you have been along for much of this ride, maybe all of this. I don't know if anybody's been here for all of the ride, but today we are. You're not nearly as excited about this as I am, but we're at the final chapter of Kohelet. The final chapter we started back at Sukkot and have been doing a chapter a week pretty much of Kohelet. And it's only 12 chapters, this particular scroll. But we're coming to the final chapter. And let me share that with you, and let's go through it. Ronnie, I'm going to mute you. Yeah, you're fine. You're fine. Anybody, as you all know, I hope you know that you are welcome to unmute anytime you need to. You have the power, and we're just sort of keeping stray noises out of the background. So this is where we started. This is where we started with this text attributed to Solomon. This is the second verse in it. Havel Havelim Amar Kohelet. Emptying upon emptying, said the assembler. Havel Havelim Hakol Havel. Emptying upon emptying, everything is emptying. So we're looking at this wisdom text, and it is telling us in these words, using the direct words from the Hebrew text, this ancient Hebrew text, and using this word hevel or havel, which it changes, the vowels change, but the meaning is the same, that is like vapor or breath, or in this sense of emptying, of one moment emptying into the next, into the next, into the next. And as I've said all along, that we who live in bodies, we live in Newtonian time, Newtonian physics, which means that we live in time, where time goes in one direction. Doesn't go backwards or up or down, it just goes forward. That is our experience of living. 90 something percent of the time, people may have other unusual experiences, but for most of it, that's how we live. So here we are with chapter 12. And the first half of chapter 12 is still part of Kohelet, and then it gets to an epilogue. So here's the first part. How shall you live in youth and in age? Keep truth with you always, and see the one who is all, shining through all who are one. Now, to me, that's a really lovely translation. And we know that, as I have the little book up here, that this is as it's translated, and also it's as it's interpreted broadly by Rabbi Rami Shapiro in his book, The Tao of Solomon. I'll give you just this one. I'm not going to do all the direct translations for everything, but we'll do this one. So pay attention and just feel the difference. But truth, capital T, is on purpose here with you always. And one who is all, as a name for God. One who is all. Emphasis on the one. Shining through all who are one. Walk with reality. Reality is, again, another name for God. Notice these capitalizations. Truth as a name for God. One who is all as a name for God. Reality as a name for God. Walk with reality in youth. Bend with reality in age. And your last days will be no less precious than your first. When the end comes and you no longer desire tomorrow, be neither angry nor despairing. Know that all things come to pass, arising from and returning to the one who is the source and substance of all. Two more God names there. One who is the source. Sometimes we'll say Makor HaChaim, the source of life, and substance of all. So here is the pshat according to Robert Alter of what the Hebrew, in just a real scholarly direct translation, would say. And recall your Creator in the days of your prime, until the days of evil come, and the years arrive when you will say, I have no delight in them. Julie, you had a question? Julie, can you unmute if you want? Yeah.
It wouldn't unmute
Oh, gotcha.
for some reason. Until the days of evil come.
Right. Now let me Yeah, it's a great question. I was just gonna clue you in on that. So Alter makes a note saying that what they mean by evil here is really just the body, declining. So it's physical decompensation of the body. It's not like it's not how we would use evil, which is one of the reasons that Rami Shapiro has retranslated. This is like an old use of the word, but it's not evil as we would normally think of it in the first moment, but just as sort of physical dissipation of the body declining. That's what that is meaning. And so we go back.
I guess I'm still in Shloshim, I'm struggling with that.
Of course. See what he's done with it here. And you don't have to take any of these, of course. These are they are for you to interpret for yourself and see how it lands for you today And it may land differently today than it lands on other days. But Shapiro has taken this walk with reality in youth, bend with reality in age, and your last days will be no less precious than your first. Yeah, and in the end, when the end comes and you no longer desire tomorrow, be neither angry nor despairing. I know that these words will land differently at different times, and it's good to know that. And that takes us back to the very beginning and this very basic idea that is threaded throughout Ecclesiastes, throughout Kohelet, that each moment empties into the next. So whatever happened in the moment before has an impact on the next moment. And that moment has an impact on the next moment. So they're all, everything that happens before sort of conditions for how we receive it, how we are oriented to it, how we feel it. And we can't hang on to any one of those moments. We can't hang on to the ones that we like, and we can't push the ones that are difficult and challenging. We can't push them any faster. And that is the wisdom that we're getting from Kohelet. So I'm going to go now. I'm going to go the next. I'm going to hold off on the next slide for just a second because it's a long one, and it's really talking about what happens in decline. In decline. Now the Buddhists have a whole meditation, and I can't remember the name of it. Bill, if you remember it, please share it. But it's basically, I am of the nature to die. I am of the nature to get sick. I am of the nature to get old. You know, that of this reality that we live in a physical body and it doesn't last forever. And hiding from that fact is not particularly useful. It also is not saying to ruminate and to like bathe in it, but to be aware, to know. So here it is. Before light is harsh to your eye, before your eye dims to the heaven's glory, before clear skies appear cloudy, before your hands tremble and your back curls, before your teeth blunt and your eyes fog, before your bowels constrict and your stomach tightens, before your sleep is fitful and your ears seem stuffed with cloth, before the slightest incline seems like a great mountain, before the easiest task becomes the greatest challenge, before tumors threaten and boils erupt, before your spine twists and you cannot stand, before sexual desire fails, before your mind dwells on death and your friends appear as mourners, before your bones become brittle and your thoughts muddled, before your connection to this world is severed and the dust of you returns to the earth, know this: the whole of life is empty of permanence. There's no certainty, no surety, no salvation to lift you out of impermanence. There's only doing without reward, serving without payment, learning without knowing, rejoicing without reason, loving without controlling, walking without maps. To think otherwise is to pursue the wind, and vanity piles upon vanity as you seek to freeze that which is forever melting. So that's a lot. It's a lot. And when I wake up in the morning, that is not top of mind. When I wake up in the morning, I have a new morning practice. I have a new Moda Ani, thank you. I thank you, God, as a morning wake up. I get up and I have a new yoga practice on the side of my bed. I get out, stand up, put my hands on the bed, and reach back and stretch, and I do a whole bunch of, and then stretch the back of my calves and my hips and the sides, and like, because if I don't do that, I can barely walk after I get up in the morning. So, but when I get up in the morning, I'm usually pretty excited about the day. I'm not thinking, oh, everything is falling apart. And it is part of this practice to know both truths, to be able to live with a life that is empty of permanence, and know that that is also means that it's full of possibility. We're not stuck, which also means we can't grab onto, we can't cling on to things even if we like them. So enjoy it in the moment. Rejoice without reason. Love without controlling. And be able to walk without maps. We don't, none of us have been here before. None of us have been here before, not in this moment. We've had maybe some similar experiences as we're having today or might have tomorrow, but none of us have actually been here before. And then verse 8 in this last chapter comes right back to the beginning. Havel Havelim Amar HaKohelet, HaKol Havel. Emptiness upon emptiness, said the assembler. Everything is passing away. Or, as Alter says it, merest breath, said Kohelet. All is mere breath. And now we get to the epilogue. So this got added onto the back of this because, as you see, I'm trying to explain so that it is not all so totally depressing, because it can sound pretty depressing. Even the ancients thought, you know what? We need to add something to the end of this book. We need to make a comment, because this is pretty radical stuff. This is not your normal Exodus, Leviticus, Deuteronomy. So they've added this. Solomon was both sage and teacher. He weighed our thoughts and probed our actions. His insights seeded many proverbs. A lot of it's just, proverbs. This is a good way to live. He revealed valuable knowledge, sharing the keys to correct living and true understanding. The words of the wise, these wisdom texts, guide us to right living. They are like well-fastened nails with broad heads. And I want to hold there for a second. That's how Shapiro says it. Well-fastened nails with broad heads, holding boards fast to their places. Other translations are like, they kind of sting like a nail, like you just got a nail in you. So it's both of those. It holds you in place, like steadies you, stabilizes you. But it's also, maybe it's got a little bit of sting. And they all come from observing reality. Like not making up anything to be worse than it is, but just observing reality. Do not seek surety in wisdom. Exercise caution in the pursuit of knowledge, for it too can trap you in the vanity of imagined permanence. There's that idea of like, I'll say God in a box. Like, I've got the one, definition of what God is, or I've got the one definition of what's best for my life, or the one definition of fill in the blank. There are temporary truths, but as we grow and live and life changes, sometimes those truths need to be adjusted. There is no end to the buying of books. Well, we all know that's true. It doesn't say anything about the reading of them. It's just the buying of the books. And thus no end to their being written. Study can become a burden of its own, robbing you of strength and joy. For in the end, there is no certainty, and security is not for us, born under the sun. That's the truth. We don't know what the next day is going to bring us. And yet we wake up assuming, for the most part, we live assuming that the next day is going to be just like this day. But every day also has that miraculous possibility of something new. And here we come to the very end. In sum, the assembler taught us well. Stand in wonder before reality, and deal justly and kindly with all that come your way. Cling to nothing and allow everything to pass. Do not imagine that you can buy your way to eternity. You cannot control destiny, nor can you secure reward. Yet life brings every deed to fruition, allowing even the hidden motive its due. Whether for good or for ill, the consequences of your deeds will manifest. You will reap what you sow, and order will use chaos as it will. I think we're living that one right now. So when all is said, remember this. Open your mind to wonder, your heart to compassion, and your hand to justice, that you fashion a whole and holy world. And that's where he leaves it there, and I really love that. Open your mind to wonder, your heart to compassion, and your hand to justice, that you fashion a whole and holy world. Some last comments before we sit. 1, and he says this more clearly in his previous version of this book. He's been working on Kohelet since he was in college. And that Kohelet has a fourfold plan for living well. What's the trick? What's the secret? What's the thing that if you pay your subscription you get? Here it is. Eat simply, drink moderately, find work that gives you a sense of meaning and purpose, and cultivate a few loving relationships. Whether that's perfect or not, it certainly feels to me like it covers a lot of good ground and is very doable. I don't have to be somebody else. I get to be me and live the life as the human that I am. I'm going to stop the share for a second. And actually, no, I'm going to come back to this and read you his comments on that, because I think they're useful. And then we'll go ahead and sit. So he says, here is the summation of Solomon's teaching. Each moment is a precious expression of God. That one moment flowing into the next, into the next. What if each moment is a precious expression of God? Never repeating, it comes only to pass away. And if we are to live well, we must do so here and now, for that is all there is, he says. And I'm raising my hand and saying, wait a minute. As far as I actually know right now, that's all there is. But I depend on my spiritual imagination and considering what possibilities there are for an afterlife. And so I ask again, well, what is Kohelet teaching us? I think Kohelet is teaching us to notice how views of afterlife are functioning for us. If they're functioning as a way to be asleep to this life, that's not so great. How do they affect our living while one is alive? That's what matters. If my views of afterlife help me to live better, that's what I think I'm interested in right now. So he continues and says, pay attention to this moment and this moment again. Do not try to control it or judge it or cling to it or flee from it. Just be with it, in it, as it is. Attending to the moment, we have the option to see the wonder that surrounds and fills us. When we accept impermanence, we honor and respect our bodies, just as they are, our minds, our hearts, our relationships. Let me share my new favorite W.H. Auden quote. I love my crooked neighbor with all my crooked heart. I love my crooked neighbor with all my crooked heart. Accepting impermanence allows me to feel that, to be in relationship in the imperfect ways that I am, and honor everything that comes our way. Engaging each moment without fear or hesitation, we open ourselves to the full range of feeling, knowing that we are always free to act wisely. And I had to raise my hand to him there again. Really? We're always free to act wisely? It seems so simple written down. Here, I'm going to stop the share for now. It seems so simple written down. Just act wisely. Just do the right thing. And yet, we know that when we find greater clarity around our own habitual actions and our habitual thoughts, when we become more aware of the feelings that are present and how they might impact our choices, our behavior, our responses, and how badly that can turn out when I don't know those feelings are present, when we cultivate awareness, when we take care of ourselves in order to be okay, or in order to have resources upon which to draw, when I sleep enough, eat well, exercise, when I feel okay, then we are setting up the conditions in which we are likely to act with more wisdom than otherwise. So I feel comfortable saying that rather than saying, knowing I'm always free to act wisely. I'm going to say, I will practice in order to get better at setting up the conditions in which I am more likely to act wisely. And finally, he says, this is back to Shapiro, recognizing the interdependence of all things. We act justly, gracefully, and compassionately in every situation. We think twice when it's ours, when it's our family, our loved ones. And if everybody is our family, our loved ones, or our annoying ones, or our crooked-hearted neighbor, if it's ours, we act differently. Knowing that all is God We cling to nothing and rejoice in everything. We take pleasure in the moment as we might enjoy a game, he says, a precious, sacred game, knowing that if we play with open hearts and open minds, we can bring a bit of joy and comfort to all we meet, and in this way make the world a little more loving for our having been born into it. So I'm going to share this last thing one more time and then we'll go ahead and sit. So when all is said, remember this. Open your mind to wonder, your heart to compassion, and your hand to justice, that you fashion a whole and holy world. So let's go ahead and sit, and we can stay and talk and wrestle and argue with him afterwards. Find your seat. Adjust your posture in any way that allows you to be both relaxed and alert. Check in and see if you need to bring a little energy to sit up a tiny bit straighter, or if you need to release tension somewhere, maybe in the jaw or the forehead, or in a clutched hand. And then begin with a slow, deep inhale. Feeling the belly gently expand. Exhaling slowly and completely. Releasing worry. Releasing the words for now. We'll come back to them. They'll be there. Releasing the words. And relax for a moment at the end of the exhale before inhaling again. Do that a few times, like a deep, nice, deep cleansing breath. And then continuing to pay attention to the breath, either at the tip of the nostrils or the rise and fall of the belly. Let your breath settle into its own natural rhythm. Let your attention follow the breath while the body breathes all by itself. Sense if there's any feeling of holding on to the breathing process. And just let that relax any amount. Deeply let be into the bodily feeling of the breath. Let the feeling of the breath draw you into oneness with it, as if letting the breath do the knowing. Letting the breath meditate you. And when the mind begins to wander, as it will, let the feeling of the breath draw you right back to it like a magnet. And you can stay with the breath, or you can move the attention to the body, scanning the body from top of the head to the toes at your own pace, or you can follow my voice. And let your awareness settle into the feeling of the body as a whole. Notice any feeling of tightness or holding on within the body. Letting that relax. Allowing bodily feelings to settle in their own way. Starting with the top of the head, the back of the head, the small muscles of the forehead and around the eyes, the cheeks, the lips, notice if there's any tension in the lower jaw, and allowing that to settle in its own way. Maybe release any amount. The small muscles around the ears, and noticing hearing is receptive. Just allowing sound to enter the ear. Passive. Bringing attention to the neck, the front of the neck, the back of the neck, the shoulders as they rise and fall with the breath. The arms from shoulder to elbow to wrist and hand and fingertips. Each finger from base to tip and tip to base. From the tips of the fingers back to the wrists, tip of the fingers to the elbows, tip of the fingers all the way back to the shoulders, holding the arms as a whole in mind. Coming to the back body, the shoulder blades, the spine, any sense of muscles working or spine curving. Just allowing bodily feelings to settle in their own way. Back to the shoulders, and then there's the collarbones and the sternum, rising and falling with each breath. Allowing awareness to include the entire rib cage, expanding and releasing with each breath. There's no right way to breathe, just allowing the body to breathe in its own way. Allowing that rib cage to move in its own way. Bringing attention to the lungs filling, the heart beating, all the internal organs quietly working. Allowing all these parts of the body to draw you into oneness with them. Allowing the body to do the knowing. Allowing the body to meditate you. Moving attention to the hips and the buttocks, feeling pressure or sensation or maybe gravity, weight of the body held in place. Awareness of the body's connection to the seat. Bringing awareness to the weight and width of the thighs, the front of the knees, the back of the knees, shins and calves, ankles, heels, arch of the foot, the big toe mound, the big toe and the pinky toe, each toe from base to tip and tip to base. From the tip of the toes to the heel, from the tip of the toes up to the knees, from the tip of the toes to the hips, from the tip of the toes to the shoulders, from the tip of the toes to the top of the head. Feeling the body as a whole, allowing bodily feelings to settle in their own way. And when the mind wanders, letting that grounded feeling of the body draw you right back to it like a magnet. And now bringing your awareness to any thoughts arising in the mind. Notice if there's any sense of clinging on to the thinking process, any holding on to a sense of self, to a thought, to a memory, and let the feeling of holding on, let that feeling relax. Let the feeling of holding on relax deep within. Give the heart and mind permission to fall gently and totally open. Letting the mind reunite with the natural openness that's already here. It's already here. It's right here. Let this total openness of mind draw you into oneness with it. Let the utter openness of mind do the knowing. Let the openness do the meditating. Allowing patterns of thought or feelings to just unwind and release. Within this space of deep acceptance, letting everything be. And when the mind closes up again, as it does, holding on to a thought or a memory or a feeling, just once again let the heart and mind relax and reunite with the natural openness that's already here. Letting all the patterns of thought and feeling unwind and release within the space of deep acceptance. Okay, thank you, everybody. Just take a minute to come back. Maybe notice what's different. I understand if some people will need to leave, but I'm planning on staying and talking for a little bit with whoever would like to stay. Bill, you have your hand raised. I got the. Is that what you wanted to do? The five?
Yeah. So,
Yeah. Go ahead and share it.
well, I just
I'll
right.
I'll,
It's called the
I'll share
five
it.
remembrances. Okay. Okay.
You should be able to see it now. Can you see it?
Yes, I can. Laura?
Good. Okay.
Yeah. This is Thich Nhat Hanh's uh, translation.
Right. So like yeah, this whole these ideas are not just Jewish, but we see them in other as they're translated in other cultures and other philosophies and other practices. I am of the nature to grow old. There's no way to escape growing old. No matter how much Botox or how many nips and tucks and yeah, I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape ill health. I'm of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature to change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My actions are my only true belongings. I cannot escape the consequences of my actions. My actions are the ground upon which I stand. Which takes us back to Shapiro's interpretation of the last bit of Solomon, of Kohelet. Open your mind to wonder, your heart to compassion, and your hand to justice, that you fashion a whole and holy world. So, complaints, Ronnie.
Not a complaint in the slightest. For somebody who took almost 15 minutes to get in and was in double and whatever, suddenly got grounded. And I would love it if you could share the slides, including the five remembrances,
Sure.
if you could share them with us. And I just want to thank you because the timing of everything that you shared is so incredible. And I'm going to work hard to not go political, but all I can say is we need to abolish ICE, however you want to interpret that.
Yeah, yeah. When we see things that are causing violence and pain and provocation and death and all of that, like something is wrong here. It's very clear. It is very clear, and you don't have to be political to say so. When we get into situations when we're seeing so many as other rather than as connected and part of the one, we know it's time to sit a while, sit and breathe, and in order that I'm going to go back to Auden, that I can love my crooked neighbor with all my crooked heart. And maybe from there we can figure out a way for things to get better. I'm looking to find if I can get a link to this.
Can I say something while you're looking?
Please, go ahead.
I think for me, I have to keep it small right now.
Mm-hmm.
I love this last paragraph. My actions are my only true belongings. I never heard that before in that, I've never heard those words put together like that. I've got to keep it small with my neighbor. I've got to know she always needs to be right and not argue with her, for example. Whatever it may be, I've just got to keep it small. I cannot fault myself for not feeling compassion for people, certain people right now. I mean, I can send out, energy that I hope they may be well and they be released from the fear that's making them act the way they are.
Yeah.
And that's about it. But right now, especially, I personally need to just keep it really small and know that my actions have consequences, little things, smiling at people, when you pass them, saying hi, it brightens up things. It's when we get to go out again, Um, yeah, so I just need to keep it small. Otherwise, I mean, I watched the news last night and it was such a bad thing to do. So I don't know what's happening and I can't change the big stuff, but yeah, but here we are, which is good.
Right. But it's good to know when we are in that place. Like, when do I have what I need to go out and help others? And when do I need to just sit, like,
Yep.
because I'm a person too. Sometimes I'm the one who needs it. Like, sometimes I'm the one who needs the loving kindness to get to a point where I have sort of I actually don't like this phrase, but I'll use it, that refilled my cup till I have my enough resources to go out and be among people and not make a mess, not make a worse mess, not add in extra stuff. And that is real. That is wisdom. That is a very wise choice.
I've heard an acronym, HALT, HALT, before
Mhm.
you act. HALT.
Mhm.
Are you hungry? Are you angry, lonely, or tired?
Oh, that's a good one.
HALT. Just like before you like snap at somebody. Am I hungry? Am I angry, about something else or in general, etc. Lonely, tired, hungry.
Yeah, there's another one that's really good. Wait, why am I talking?
Oh yeah, I love that.
But all of these are just exactly what we're doing here. We're practicing checking in, seeing what's going on, what might be impacting me to act in the next way, because these are the preconditioned. This is the emptying upon emptying. Like, what's here first that influence the way I respond to you or answer or walk in the world, or the way my face is set as I'm walking, into the grocery store or something like that. I was looking for here it is. So you said the my actions are my only true belongings. There's also, and I've mentioned this briefly before, that for when we do taharot, when we prepare the deceased for burial, one of the things that we say as sort of a kavanah is that we dress this person in plain white garments, and according to the Zohar, the tachrichim, those plain white garments, correspond to Chalukah de Rabbanah, the robe of the sages, that are woven from a person's mitzvot that they fulfilled while they were alive. So it's, imagine you are robed with your actions. That's what we have. That's what we leave this world with, is just how we acted, how we behaved. I am gonna have to email you the other thing, and I'm gonna stop the share. Sorry, I didn't realize that was still going on there.
Hey, Julie,
Yeah.
on the lighter side, now that we've finished the Rami Shapiro works, do you think there's a possibility we could all get a Kohelet certification?
Yes. what what is it going to look like?
Don't ask me. I don't know. But we could put it on the
It's
wall
going
at
to
least for
be
a
two
couple days,
little
right?
buckets. It's going to be two little buckets, one with water to flow into the next one. It's going to go back and forth, two little buckets.
They're right. That's it. Exactly right.
So does Kohelet mean ecclesiastic? No.
Yes.
Ecclesiastes? No.
Yes.
Oh, it does.
Ecclesiastes is the Greek for Kohelet. Kohelet is the Hebrew, and Kohelet comes from the same root as kahal. So kahal means like a group, like an assembly. A Kohelet, it's the function of the assembler. He's called the assembler. But this
is that what Ecclesiastes translates to?
What?
Ecclesiastes.
Yes.
That translates to assembly.
The assembler, the one who assembles.
Assembler.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
It's supposed to be King Solomon. It's credited to King Solomon.
Because
it's called Ecclesiastes.
Yeah. Yes, but it's I was going to get the first verse here because it starts out saying it's like this king, son of King David, and like, oh, I guess that's Solomon. Let's see if I can. It's going to take me too long to get there, but the very first verse talks about that it's that's not going to work.
So Kohelet is Hebrew and Ecclesiastes is Greek?
Greek, yes.
Greek. So why do we call it Ecclesiastes instead of Kohelet then?
It depends who the we is. We Jews call it Kohelet, but we live in a land where most people call it Ecclesiastes. So there you go.
Was that done during the Septuagint, the translation?
No, it's a different translation. The Septuagint is just the five books. So the very first verse, the song. Oh wait, no, that's not it. Sorry, I'm in the wrong place. I was trying to get that quote for you, and I can't. I'm a little lost here. But yes, it was translated by the Greeks, and in fact, the whole, if you recall, that whole Havel Havalim Amar Kohelet, in the Greek, it was translated from Hevel to this Matiotes, and Matiotes means like futility, but it also means empty. So you could go two different ways, and then the Latin translation by Jerome, hundreds of years later, he went the futility route instead of the empty, or empty in the way of like lacking, not in the way of emptiness that has possibility. So he went to the Latin of vanitas, which we now say vanity of vanities. Well, that word has also changed meaning since Jerome wrote it. So when we say vanity of vanities, it just doesn't translate to us in any way near what it originally meant. So that's why I think it's so important and so helpful to come back to a reimagination of it, and not on a surface level. This is somebody who's been working with this text for a long, long time, and I think
this has just been wonderful. This has just been wonderful. I knew I was always missing something because of the translation.
Well, I think that is also our an option for us as a way of reading Jewish texts in general. So we are reading it. I chose an author who is reading it specifically from a contemplative viewpoint. And we can relook at the rest of Torah. Not saying that's the only way to read things, but usually anything that's been around that long has a few levels to read it on. But the contemplative level is definitely a legitimate way to read it. And that's how I look at a lot of the parshiot and so on. That we have a new way of seeing the text and a new way of orienting ourselves to the text. I'll tell you that I spent the longest time, most of my life, not connected to Judaism because I thought it was a bunch of old men telling me what I couldn't do. That didn't do much for me. It just didn't. But when I had a baby and we lifted the lid on, oh, that's what we mean by divine, something real, something about living well, something about being awake in my own life. And yeah, which is pretty great. And Kohelet is helping remind us, just as all the meditation teachers, the Buddhist meditation tradition and the Jewish meditation tradition, is that you don't just, it's not like all a sugar rush. It's not just the cookies. We're meant to live this life fully. So how do we stand to be awake in topsy-turvy times? And how do we be our best selves? Like, know when, I cannot be kind to my crooked neighbor because I cannot be kind to my crooked self right now. I need to rest, or I need to sit and breathe, or I need to do whatever, some yoga, or take a walk, or pet my dog, or just smile at somebody. And these are deep, deep human needs. So this is what it's like to live as a human in this world. So thank you, everybody. I have to say, so I am going to be putting up a recording of today's thing. I'm going to block out all your faces to keep privacy, but I'm going to put a recording of this session up for Tuesday, so you can go through it again, the same thing again. Because I am going to be teaching an introduction to Judaism course for the community on Tuesday night. And then I am going out of town to Hevraya retreat, to a retreat for rabbis and cantors, a meditation and text retreat. So I will be gone a bunch, and I do not have somebody who's able to step in for me, so I'm going to be providing you some recordings. Now, here's your assignment, if you will. Notice when you get the reminder and it says, there's a recording. Notice your feelings. Notice your response to that. Notice if the energy goes, or if it goes, oh, thank God, it's that. I can speed through. I can do it at two times speed. Just notice that. And whether you go to the recording or not, at least open up the reminder and notice. And you may just sit on your own for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. But then I will be back February 11th. February 10th. Am I? No, I'm not. I'm going to be on a plane. I'm going to be back February 15th. So it's going to be a little while. It's going to be a couple weeks that there will be recordings. I am happy, though, to try and field questions. If you do the recordings and find you have some questions or comments, please email me, and I'm happy to engage with that.
Julie, I just want to tell you, and I'm sure that probably others feel this way, and that is that we really want you to be able to do your retreat and get your needs met. I have noticed, so blessings for your journey, I guess, is that to conclude that little part. But I have noticed when a recording is up that how much the community holds me in my sit, which is absolutely wonderful. I'm so glad but I would like to grow. It will probably take me another 100 years, but I would like to grow where, you know, I'm holding that for myself, that sacred space and time for myself. And so, yeah, I'm not there yet, but I'm accepting your challenge that when I open up and I see that it's a recording, I'm going to try, even if I can't make it the whole time. But all of these faces and the liveness that come really does hold it for me. You've said that several times. This community anchors it for me. But you know, I want to grow where I consider that important for myself, and I don't have to be, you know, I don't know, closing the opportunity for myself.
Ideally, we all find a way to practice daily on our own, whether it's just having our hands around a warm cup of coffee and taking that moment to breathe and smell, literally smell the coffee, or whatever's in your cup, or some morning thing, or some evening thing, a time to just be, to as we arrive here, and the group helps us to come back to practice, even if we fall. And falling off is natural, and getting back on is natural, and that is all part of the process. So that's why I say check into your the feelings of when you open up that reminder. First off, you got to open up that reminder. I can't help you with that, but you got to do that. But notice your feelings around that. And it's good to know that feeling of lack of motivation, whatever that feels like. It's like, oh, that's what that feels like. Or maybe it's like, whew, I can do it for 5 minutes and nobody will know. There's that feeling too. But notice it, and notice how it's working for you, because that is the practice. It's not that we all learn to sit quietly for 2 hours every day. That is not the practice. It's that knowledge of how this is all functioning for you, that being awake to your own habits in your own life. So you will get a little reminder, and you get to practice in any way that works for you there. And then I will be back, and we'll do more. We'll do something else. So thank you all.
Thank you. This was great.
You.